After this, you will never chase a dismissive avoidant again. Have you ever found yourself chasing someone who seems emotionally bulletproof? Someone who pulls away just when you start to get close. You try harder, you text more, you overthink every silence, hoping they'll finally open up or give you the affection you crave. But what happens instead? They retreat even further. They become colder, more detached, and you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? That, right there, is the power of the dismissive avoidant. They draw you in with glimpses of connection and then disappear into their emotional fortress the moment you start to matter. But after this video, you'll understand them so deeply that you'll never chase them again. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you'll finally see the trap for what it truly is. Let's start with the harsh truth. Dismissive avoidants aren't afraid of you. They're afraid of needing you. To them, intimacy equals danger. Depending on someone feels like weakness, and vulnerability feels like exposure. So, when things start getting real, they subconsciously pull away. They might ghost you, criticize you, or act indifferent just to regain their sense of control. You think they're rejecting you, but what they're really doing is running from the feeling of closeness itself. They've learned early in life that love is unreliable, that emotions bring pain, not safety. So their coping mechanism is simple. Don't need anyone. When you chase them, you're unknowingly confirming their deepest fear, that closeness equals suffocation. Every time you try to fix the situation, explain yourself, or demand answers, their walls get higher. They feel invaded. What they perceive as emotional survival, you experience as abandonment. This creates the classic push-pull dynamic. You move forward, they step back, you withdraw, they suddenly reappear just enough to keep you hooked. It's not love. It's a survival dance between two nervous systems stuck in opposite fears. Yours of losing connection and theirs of losing independence. But here's the secret that will change everything. Dismissive avoidants are only powerful when you chase them. Their emotional distance becomes intoxicating only because you're trying to bridge it. The moment you stop chasing, that moment you detach and redirect your focus inward, the entire dynamic collapses. Because dismissive avoidants thrive on being pursued. It gives them reassurance without responsibility. They get to feel desired while staying emotionally untouched. When you stop giving them that, they suddenly have to face their own emptiness. They start to realize that the control they thought kept them safe is actually keeping them alone. Now I want you to imagine this. You stop chasing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to decode their mixed signals. Instead, you calmly detach. You become emotionally unavailable to their avoidance. You show them, not through words but through your silence, that you will no longer participate in one-sided emotional labor. That's when something fascinating happens. The dismissive avoidant, who once ran from intimacy, begins to feel something they can't handle: curiosity. They start to wonder, why aren't you trying anymore? Why does your peace suddenly look so attractive? Your absence becomes louder than all your previous attempts to connect. But make no mistake, this isn't about playing games or waiting for them to come back. It's about finally seeing that your worth was never meant to be proven through someone's indifference. The avoidance coldness once made you question yourself. You thought, if I could just love them better, maybe they'd open up. But you were never meant to thaw someone's ice with your warmth. You were meant to learn that your warmth is sacred, that it deserves reciprocity, not resistance. Let's go deeper. The dismissive avoidant doesn't feel safe in emotional intimacy because somewhere in their childhood, closeness was either overwhelming or disappointing. Maybe they had emotionally unavailable parents, people who dismissed their feelings, mocked their vulnerability, or punished their dependence. So they grew up believing, if I want to stay safe, I must stay alone. Fast forward to adulthood, and that belief becomes their relationship template. They crave love, but when love arrives, their inner child screams, danger. So they shut down, not realizing they're recreating the same loneliness they've always run from. And here's the cruel irony. The more you chase them, the more you remind them of the parent they felt smothered by, the one who tried to control, fix, or force connection. To them, your chase doesn't feel like love. It feels like pressure. That's why the most powerful move you can make is to step back, not in anger, not in manipulation, but in emotional maturity. You stop trying to heal them, and instead, you focus on healing yourself. You let silence do what words never could. You let it teach them that love cannot exist without mutual effort. When you truly understand the psychology of a dismissive avoidant, their behavior stops confusing you. You stop personalizing their distance. You realize it's not about you being unlovable, it's about them being unhealed. And that shift, that deep understanding, sets you free. Because once you stop seeing their withdrawal as rejection, you stop trying to fix it. You start protecting your peace instead of proving your worth. You start setting boundaries instead of begging for closure. And ironically, that's the very thing that often makes an avoidant feel safe enough to reappear. Because for the first time, they see that you won't drown them in emotion. But even if they do come back, you'll no longer feel the same pull. Because once you've tasted your own peace, chaos loses its flavor. You'll see their detachment for what it really is, a defense mechanism, not a mystery. You'll realize that love isn't about chasing someone who runs. It's about walking beside someone who chooses to stay. The dismissive avoidant may keep running their whole life trying to outrun their own vulnerability, but you'll no longer be part of that race. The real power isn't in getting them back. It's in reclaiming the energy you used to spend trying to be enough for someone who couldn't receive love. It's in learning that love shouldn't feel like a test of endurance. It should feel like peace, safety, and mutual respect. When you stop chasing a dismissive avoidant, you send a silent but powerful message. I'm not afraid to lose you. I'm afraid to lose myself trying to keep you. So if you've been stuck in this pattern, if you've been chasing emotional crumbs from someone who shuts down every time you get close, let today be your turning point. The chase ends not when they change, but when you do. When you finally see that your emotional depth is not a weakness, it's your strength. When you stop interpreting their silence as a challenge and start interpreting it as a mirror showing you where you've been giving too much. The truth is, dismissive avoidants only seem powerful because they control access to their emotions. But once you master yours, they lose that power completely. You start moving from reaction to response, from desperation to dignity. You start attracting people who don't make you chase love. They offer it freely because they've done the same healing work you've started. And one day you'll look back and realize that the avoidant wasn't your soulmate. They were your mirror. They forced you to confront the parts of yourself that thought love had to be earned. They taught you to stop chasing and start choosing yourself, choosing peace, choosing emotional availability, not avoidance. And in that moment, you'll finally understand what you were always searching for in them was never in them. It was inside you, waiting to be remembered. So stop chasing what runs. Stop begging for the bare minimum. Stop mistaking emotional distance for emotional depth. When you finally walk away from the dismissive avoidant, you're not losing love. You're reclaiming your power. And that's the day you'll realize the person you were chasing was never the prize. You were.